There you are, Envoy. You ready for this? You're probably right. I guess whatever happens, at least we stopped the Dream Scourge, right? This is just cleanup. Just figuring out who controls the living lands from here out. You have a lot to do. I just need to survive and make sure you live through this. Anyway, you should get some rest. Oh, if you need to rehearse any speeches or whatever, make sure you do it in front of someone else. I promise you I've heard it. Talk to you later, Envoy.
So, here we are. The first and last battle for the living lands. If the Garden didn't kill us, I don't think anything can. Metaphysically, the battle is already over. Sapadal is free, and the Dream Scourge is gone. But politically, we have a small mess to tidy up. I intend to send a message to the Steel Garrote, and it won't be subtle. Anyway, who knows what tomorrow will bring, so let's be grateful for today. You've earned a little peace of mind. Get some rest then. Let me take the first watch. Besides, I need to tinker on the phantasmal focus. Make sure it's ready for war. We cannot know if the living lands will normalize or destabilize as a result of our actions. Emerald Stair was bad enough. I don't want to think about how bad it can get. Let's hope it all works out in the end, because the other gods aren't coming to answer our prayers. I hope you don't mind me bringing it up. The subject matter is a bit much for our little camp. We're not finished yet. For that, I'm grateful. I want you to know this has been an unforgettable experience. Wherever we go from here, I'm grateful to have been a part of it. Until next time. Anything in particular? You want to talk? Let's talk. Neither can I. I never used to believe in destiny. Life always felt meaningless, like groping through the dark. But in a good way. All of that was before the Garden. What are the odds that you and I meet? And after a series of mishaps, I learned the truth about my family's past? Destiny is truly unavoidable. For whatever reason, certain things must happen in due course. Whatever you choose to call it, a coincidence like this does not happen every day. Let's appreciate it for what it is. Moments like this are few and far between. If I must.
Envoy? Is it really you? Mihala told us you went into some place called the Garden to seek a god?
When you didn't return, we took you for dead.
What did you see there? The god you felt in Nokotadek?
The origin of the Dream Scourge? It was the act of a god this whole time?
Everyone, please, please. We could get to the bottom of this if you would only let them speak.
It's been weeks, Envoy. What happened? Finally, a ray of sunlight shines through the storm cloud.
I will not grovel at the envoy's feet for solving a plague I am not convinced was real.
If you wardens ever bothered to pull your heads out of your asses, you wouldn't take such pride in your ignorance.
You know nothing of me or my people, you fucking pirate!
Warden Commander, look around you. Is this really the time?
We believe the dream scourge was a malady of the soul. How did you put an end to it, envoy?
Yes, we have become more.
Sapadal was responsible for the dream scourge. Their rage, their confusion, their fear.
But the plague isn't over. Dream thralls still litter Shatterscarp.
There won't be any new infections. We've put a stop to that for good. Unfortunately, there's little we can do for those already in the grip of the dream scourge. We can give them comfort, nothing more. This will be a process. The dream scourge was never going to simply go away overnight.
I suppose it stands to reason. I found that a quick fix is often anything but.
What of this god, then?
The roots tearing into Paradis notwithstanding.
They erupted from the earth the moment those bastards stood up their first siege tower. Well, you might not believe me, but I didn't want any of this to happen. It was Lödwyn who called for the attack. She and her steel garrote laid siege to the city shortly after you beat her to the Garden.
We've had no news from inside for several days. From what we can observe, southern Paradis is in pieces, and the remaining militia batters at the gates to no avail.
Is there nothing our people can do?
Given the state of our supply route after the Dream Scourge, and the Steel Garrote's destruction, we expect the people trapped inside will run short of fresh food and clean water in a matter of days.
Well, that's been a point of debate. We can't agree on how to stand against the Steel Garrote, nor who should lead the effort.
Nobody wants to risk their people at the front.
So you let the Paradis militia go it alone?
Even if our meager forces should make it inside.
The siege won't end until Lödwyn does. And none of you know how to kill her.
Precisely.
You did. I kicked her corpse when you weren't looking. Just to be sure.
Well, she's seen better days, but you wouldn't know it judging by how she fights.
Lödwyn's plowed through the militia like a knife through warm butter.
All right, let's keep the similes to ourselves.
Regrettably, she's not in the business of making exceptions for people she deems oathbreaker. So long as her passion for Wodica lives, so too will her spirit.
Then we destroy her faith, and the rest of her will follow. I have a theory about this. Let's talk at camp if you want to hear it. But I think we can kill her.
Oh, good. That will be easy.
It is not, I think, impossible. The lawful settlement of a new Aedyran colony, supposedly. Or the establishment of a Wodican state. She could win with a godlike in her ranks. Your presence would serve as a powerful endorsement. Somewhere inside that hollow head of hers, I believe she always hoped she'd turn you to her side. Remember, she has an obligation to Wodica, a solemn oath. And neither the Steel Garrote nor the queen that was look kindly upon oathbreakers.
We brought as many Hail and Able from Thirdborn as would come. But after the Dream Scourge and our losses from Nakukubel, we could spare so few. I worry it won't be enough.
Likewise, my wardens are still reeling from effects of the eruption. The keep was saved, but there is much to repair, particularly if we are to endure a siege. Most of my men remain at the keep. I can't risk them against the Steel Garrote for the sake of Paradis, not when we are so few.
Because a victory here would discourage resistance elsewhere. The better question is, why didn't you stop her?
Excuse me? She's a 7-foot-tall skeleton powered by her devotion to the goddess of retribution. This isn't my fault.
Sure. Just blame the dead woman. Very mature.
Who else should I blame exactly? Our envoy, perhaps? For not stopping Lödwyn in the tusks?
You could start with blaming your own incompetence.
Lödwyn's the muscle. I'm merely the personality. What was I supposed to do? Frown her into submission?
What good are you as a diplomat if you can't even keep your own beast under control?
The Inquisitor was so convinced the living lands would unite against Idea that she's nearly made it true. One people, one law, one true God. That's Lödwyn's vision for the living lands.
What passes between Lödwyn and her men, or between Lödwyn and the Emperor, for that matter, is not my affair. But if I had to guess, this was the alternative.
Your empire is doing what it does best. Stamping out dissent until surrender is the only option.
Your republics are hardly any different. Their intentions in the Deadfire were certainly not pure.
As you say, we left the republics for a reason.
I can't wait to see how you weasel out of this one.
I know it will. We are leading by example, returning order and dignity to Paradis in the wake of the Clavager's death. We will do the same to the frontier, given the chance.
Where was order and dignity when you burned Fior Messivernal?
My administration had nothing to do with that, as I know you know. Aedyran rule and rule by the Steel Garrote would be markedly different beasts.
Spoken like a fucking diplomat. Splitting hairs when it all comes from the same head.
Order and dignity. That's what you think we're missing? Bastards! All of you!
You will take it all, whether the chance is given to you or not.
The Inquisitor answers only to Wodica. In attacking Paradis, she has dragged us all far beyond the bounds of the Emperor's desires. Lödwyn agrees. Our success would model the order and dignity of the Steel Garrote, for whatever that's worth.
You can say what you want, but you're still trying to subjugate us.
You think I'll ignore what I've seen with my own eyes? The Empire has brought us nothing but chaos and suffering.
When I think dignity, I think of the people who attacked Fior Messiverno unprovoked.
I've answered your questions. Now I would like you, all of you, to answer mine. Lödwyn has sent a message to the Emperor informing him of her attack. He will send advisors and reinforcements swiftly in response. What will his representatives find when they arrive? A new colony? A budding Gréfram? Before you face Lödwyn, you should know what you're fighting for. All of you must decide, together. But whatever you decide, understand, the days of the frontier are done. Idea will come. Indeed, we are already here. Oh, Envoy, no. Do not suggest that lightly. Think of the Emperor. There would be reprisals. Ones which this conclave could not survive, fractured as you are. Not unless you came together and formed a nation of your own. It would be difficult. No, impossible. I'm certain you would fail. Think of your people, all of you. Think of the lives at stake.
We deserve our autonomy, even if we must fight for it. Anything less would be surrender.
Fleeing someone else's laws and authority is one thing, setting up your own is another. We're an island of misfits and dissidents. We'll still have to surrender some of our autonomy, and we won't agree on what that means overnight. We'll be vulnerable. Without allies, other powers will see us as ripe for the picking. Know that this is a hard road to walk.
We were fine before Adir came. We'll be fine when they're gone.
I think we ran things perfectly fine before your kin got here.
Risk into bounty. Does the winter frost dissuade the seeds? Many fruits on our boughs. We graft many leaves into strength.
Though I'm hardly eager to work with any of you, I like the idea of twisting beneath Adir's boot heel even less. So long as the Wardens can continue our vigil, I'm open to uniting if you are.
It's a nice idea, but consider the costs. If we walk away from a relationship with Adir, we're leaving a lot of trade on the table. But the people of Thirdborn have friends in the world. I'm sure we'd find our way through.
With the Envoy's support, we'd have a god in our pocket. What could the Empire do to stop us? Together, we could repair Thior and create such miracles of animancy the Living Lands will become the envy of the world. It would be the honor of my life to stand with my people beside you all.
Of course. The Living Lands would become an extension of the Aedyran Empire in leadership and law. Soldiers bearing the flag of Adir would be garrisoned in every town. They would be paid in Aedyran shelling and speak only the Aedyran language. Their roads would be smooth Aedyran roads. Their medicine would be hygienic Aedyran medicine. And their weapons would be efficient Aedyran weapons. Our customs would become their customs. Our strengths would become their strengths. Our emperor would become their emperor. Turned toward a common purpose. No one, not Rauatai, not the Vailian republics, not even a rogue god, would dare attack the Living Lands. This island would be safe for the first time in its history, and safe it would remain.
He would suppress our culture before it's had a chance to grow. Everything my people cultivated would be reduced to a footnote. If you have any love for this land, do not allow him to overwrite our history.
Rauatai built its empire from colonies like this. Many have become centers of culture and prosperity, backed by the protection of a strong navy. Of course, it can take decades to get there. And this road isn't an easy one. But Adir won't be the only empire eyeing this place. The formal agreement now could protect us from something worse later.
It shall be peaceful in that all dissenters will be silenced. So there's that.
The Living Lands is a lot of things, but it will never be Adir, no matter how hard Adir wants it to be. Adir should turn back now and save everyone a bunch of blessed trouble.
The Adder's promise. Flip our feathers as we find our wings. The deed binds as the wire binds. To drown us, why were we set free?
The traditions of solace are what give my wardens their strength. Without them, we would buckle under the weight of the tusks. I would sooner walk my people into the acid sea than trust an Aedyran to hold me up.
What need does Thirdborn have for the protections of Aedyran soldiers? We have cannons, cliffs, and wills forged in the storms of Rauatai. And should Rauatai come for us, we will rain hellfire down on their heads. Your Aedyrans could do no better.
Under Aedyran rule, your countrymen would strip my people of everything that makes them unique, all in the name of spiritual hygiene. I cannot betray them like that.
Of course. The Living Lands would retain its own laws under a grave appointed by the Emperor. The grave would be expected to promote and develop the Living Lands to our mutual benefit. They would divide the island into administrative districts and see them governed by mayors appointed from the local communities. The island would provide tribute in the form of resources and taxes, and in times of war, soldiers. The Empire, I should note, is nearly always at war. In return, the Living Lands would enter Adir's sphere of influence, and should outside nations attempt to invade, we would come to the Gréfram's aid.
Subtle, pernicious, touch the rot, yet the disease remains. Safety among spiders. A web gleaming with dew. They weave, they wait.
Naturally, that would be the Emperor's decision. But I suspect he would choose you. Only the strong survive the frontier. I used to believe that was Lödwyn. But you were born to rule here. Quite literally. Well, give the matter some thought. You owe that much to yourself, at least.
Tribute, he says. Taxes, soldiers. The Empire has tried it all before. Look to the Eastern Reach if you don't believe me. They want to bleed us dry, to fill their coffers and fight their wars, to break us like wild animals. But I will not bend.
It's still a gamble, but I think it's the safest bet. We get the benefits of Imperial trade and protection without losing all of what makes this place special. There's no way of knowing what it would mean in another generation or two. But right now, it gives us the security and stability to recover.
We were fine before Adir showed up, and we'll be fine when they're gone. Trust the lands and her people, Envoy.
If we give Adir power over us, we can't be surprised if they decide to flex it later.
We give up our fighters and the wealth of our lands, and get promises in return. But we have wealth enough to give some away, if it means my wardens may return to their vigil in peace.
A Gréfram could work, so long as trade keeps moving through the Scarp and you're willing to serve as our go-between, Envoy. And we'll have cannons enough to deter the adherents from trying anything stupid.
When the Empire demands its tribute, from where will it come? Emerald Stair is not the breadbasket it was, and the dream of yore is now deferred. If we accept this deal, I fear we are building a trap certain to catch our own legs.
Well, let's not twiddle our thumbs while Paradis burns.